I retake lots. Oh, God. Wouldn't that be so nice? I mean, the weather is due to change. This is going to be remarkably interesting. No, it's quite good, actually. I mean, this is it. The weather will change here, and it will be mightily interesting. There's only a grand total of 4 turns left here, so perfect time for this to end, to be fair. If we take a look over here, then, so you can see here the ice level has reduced dramatically. It's reducing over here. But in the next turn, we will see the European zone as well as the South Soviet zone forecast for clear weather. Now, that means that here in the south, the Soviets are going to be able to move without issues, which is going to be a very scary thing. Very scary. Most certainly. Hello there, Lanza. How you doing, my friend? Yep. So here in the south, they'll be able to move without any impediment. The thing is, as well, that covers the Baltic. It's going to be awful. It's going to be really bad now. Hello there, Grey Knight. How you doing, my friend? So, the thing is, I don't know how we're going to be able to manage it. I mean, we managed it through the winter, but I don't know how we're going to manage it on clear and open rain and weather. It's going to be painful. It's going to be extremely painful. Oh dear. I mean, we do have something of a fortified line, but it's gonna hurt. It's most certainly going to hurt. Now, this line here has definitely not been entrenched as I would have liked it, but we'll have to make the best. We do have these troops here, and I think they're probably going to be required here in the center. Frankly, if something's going to fall, it's going to be the center here. And if the center falls, then yeah, things aren't going to go well, are they? I do predict that Posen will become a fortress city as well. That's going to happen. Thankfully, it is a fortified city, so we do have something to fight with there. We do have some troops. Not many, but some. Right, we have a new chord over here, that'd be very useful. Another one over here as well. Yep, and another. Okay, that's going to be great. At least we'll be able to organize things to some degree. I do have the 33rd SS Grenadier Division. I'm sure they've been reformed, actually. We also have the 608th. Now, that's by no means a division. Yeah, look at the supposed total. And then look at what we have now. Tiny. So there, Kendra, how you do, my friend? What we'll have to do here, then, is have these divisions pushed onto this defensive line in this area here. We need them to dig in, or try to dig in as soon as possible. We do have superb defensive terrain over here, so at least that's going to be a benefit. The heavy forest is going to be very nice. But once the weather changes, then yeah, I can't guarantee anything. I can't guarantee that we'll be able to hold a front line as we would have liked. The losses have consistently been high. We've had something of a reprieve, but nowhere near enough. There's too many units over here in the north. It's become quite cluttered. We will be able to fall back to the... is this the Vistula or the Elbe? Okay, we'll be able to fall back to the Vistula here. But we have no such rivers here. Slivering knows. Hello there, Jackalus. How you doing, my friend? There's about 4 turns to go here. 4 turns. We do have the VP points here. The issue is the Soviets are starting to build up their own victory points. We should be able to manage this as a victory. it is going to be somewhat close dependent. They've gained a lot of air points, obviously, from just absolutely decimating the Wehrmacht. Now, the Ost here. Yeah, just look at these numbers. I mean, in fairness, we've actually gained quite a lot ourselves here. I mean, their losses are worth more points to us, obviously, due to the fact that we are going up against, well, a greater force, so inflicting larger losses on them is very, very good. Good amount of points for the AV losses, good amount for the aircraft losses, to be fair. There's a lot of armoured fighting vehicles. These losses are horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. Our vehicle pool is catastrophically bad. We do still have some transport aircraft, we'll have to use that to our advantage. Here we go, 1 more minute. Hello there, Pulsan, how are you doing, my friend? Just mere seconds now, and then we'll be able to get started. Hello there, Richard, how are you doing, my friend? Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the war in the west. And well, I should be saying east at this point. Though it is getting quite close to the west, so we are getting somewhat, close there. Of course, the River Elbe would have been I think, either approached by the western forces or at least close to. Yes, we currently hold the east to a certain degree. Things aren't going exactly perfectly. We do have a decent position, more or less. It's very, very shaky. As I was saying just before the stream here, the weather is going to change, and it is going to change in a very, very dangerous way. We take a look over here, for example, the European zone, which is obviously this zone in Germany and Central Europe. We have the South Soviet zone, which is going to be clear weather as of next turn, which means all of this is going to be open. There's going to be no mud, there's going to be no snow, no blizzards, nothing to hold back Red Army assault, which is going to come. Now, how do we deal with this? Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one. If we take a look at the actual terrain here and try to make the most of it. So I have my handy-dandy drawing tool. Of course, we'll start as per usual by drawing the rivers. Now, we do have the Oder River over here, which thankfully is a large river. It does provide quite a lot for us. It travels quite far as well. It does split into a number of rivers. Now, this over here is actually going to be quite defensible. These rivers here, very nice actually. We also do have the smaller rivers, the offshoots here. One just coming down here. In reality, we do have quite a number of rivers. We do have the Vistula, which is obviously a large river itself. All the way down there. Of course, it'd be nice to hold on to Warsaw, but yeah, we've not had Warsaw for some time now. We did hold on to it for around about 5 minutes, sadly. But okay. So taking a look at things then, how do we expect the Red Army to move? I expect them to sort of push their way through here. This would be their easiest form of approach. If we actually take a look at the situation here, we can see the Red Army is already here as well. So let's see. Moving back there, just almost. Close enough. Close enough. Indeed. Okay. So how do we manage this? Does that just say in there? Will we see an advance coming this way? In all likelihood, they will be pushing this as well. Of course, they do have to cross a small river, but that's not going to trouble them too much. In terms of defensive terrain, what do we have really going for us? We obviously have multiple forests over here. Obviously, a very large forested area over here in Germany, which is going to be superb. We do have a number of villages and towns, which are going to help form a backbone. But when it comes to it, our key point is going to be the city over here, Posen. That does give us something pretty solid to hold on to. We do have Fortress City of Breslau. I mean, these will all be fortress cities. We have Posen, Breslau, Bromberg, which is super. Of course, in between them, we do have these small villages. In reality, it looks as though the terrain is very open. And of course it is very open. For example, this area here, there's no obstacles. As far as it goes, it looks worse than it really is. At least we do have some urban centres and towns to actually hold on to, which will of course give us a better chance to dig in and try to grind the Red Army offensive down. I don't know what the state of the Red Army is at the moment. They've taken some high losses, not catastrophically high losses. They have taken losses. They have lost a great number of armoured fighting vehicles. Ideally, their morale has been somewhat sapped due to some defeats. But I imagine their morale is probably quite good overall due to the fact that they've continuously pushed the German army back. I know morale, on the other hand, is pretty low at this moment. We do have a few reinforcement divisions to throw to the centre, but it's not going to be a great deal. Now, thankfully, as far as we can see here, yes, indeed, the Monty Python defense. Wouldn't it be great if we had some of those rabbits? The Holy Grail. Okay. If we take a look over here then, the great majority of the Red Army strength is concentrated in this area, as far as we can tell. There's a lot of guards obviously on the front line. Yes, there's a great deal of armour here. The good thing though is if we are pushed from this area, we will be pushed back into the Sudetenland Mountains, which is something at least that we can fight from. The issue is obviously over here and over here, where they will try to make their way through the mountains. Obviously this would be the easiest way for them. Yep, clear. Does this count as rough? Okay, rough is very defensible. So, it's not an easy thing here. It's really not an easy thing. I think we really do have to consider moving a great deal of troops, obviously, to this area here. We do have about 32 administration points, thankfully, which are going to be sorely needed. Now, we are in need of a few extra command corps here. Well, I mean, if you're, it's a very interesting question. We're holding a lot more territory than we historically would be at this point. So things are going a little bit better than they should be. We have lost East Prussia, practically. Almost completely. But Königsberg still stands at the moment. It's really doing a great job, to be fair. Without these troops being here, sacrificing their lives, it would be a much worse situation. They're holding up, well over, I'd say well over 200,000 Red Army troops in that area, more or less. So their sacrifice is very, very potent. Okay, so let's take a look at what we can actually spare here. We do have armoured forces on the front line, but I think what we need to do is actually fall back to the rivers. It's one of those of where I'd rather fall back to a pre-prepared position than fighting for something that's worthless. Okay, so what we need to do then is move some of these units back from the front line, such as the artillery and the headquarters. Okay. We do have a great reserve of artillery, which is very nice. Gives us something to hold on to. Right, you've been displaced from your corps over here. Or your divisions. Have you moved back? Yes, these forces over here already are of no use. They'll be swept aside quite easily. Right, we are looking to reform the Panzer Division. There we go. It's a very weakened Panzer Division. We have 21 defensive CV there. Not terrible. Not the greatest, but not terrible. We are going to fall back from this position here. We're going to give ground to the Red Army. Again here as well. Fall back behind the river. At least these forces are somewhat ready to go now, which is quite nice. Hello there, Neuhauser. Oh, don't worry about it, it's going to become significantly more exciting due to the fact the mud will dissipate next turn. Okay. See the Tatra Panzer Division. Significantly lacking in armor. Only 17% of their actual numbers on paper. And we do have the Heavy Panzer Jaeger Battalion, Storm Artillery Pioneer Battalion, as well as some Machine Gun Battalion. Well, battalions. So at least we do have something of a backbone. We'll move them over here to occupy this position. So, it's not all bad. We do have some defensive power here. By falling behind the river, at least we have an opportunity. Move this artillery here. We will have to move back the airfields pretty far. At least towards Breslau. Okay. Well. I can hope. But all of this will become clear weather. And I'm very worried. Again, move the airfields over here. I do have a number of new divisions, thankfully. Right, Army Group A. Are you by your headquarters? Yep, your headquarters is here. Fantastic. Okay, so we'll fall back to this area just on the river line. Well, the actual River Oder. I should provide some sort of defense. Okay. Then refit off. They need to be made ready for combat. Fall back to this position. A little bit of artillery is not going to do much, but at least it's something. Okay. I think the city is good as gone, but we'll see. I can have the forces fall back to this position here. Thankfully, we do have the interior line, so I can use the rail to actually move about. We have that benefit going for us. We'll move down here to the south. We'll occupy the forest here and this little bit of clear terrain. Okay. We'll have the panzers remain in this position here. The 8th Panzer Division is one of the better panzer divisions that we have in terms of numbers. We are giving ground here, but we are falling back behind the river. Hopefully that should make a major difference. It ideally should do. Well, we can only hope for that. We do have armor available here. We do have a decent amount of armor as well. Quite the concentration of armor in the east, actually. Okay. Could have something of a bit of defense there. But then again, we'll use that division to move that. I think we'll just fall behind the rivers here, as much as we can. The defense there should ideally give us a much better chance of just holding on through the storm. I'll have my new division sent to this area. Now, holding the town would be very nice. I do have another town here. But I need to try and have as much depth as I can, really. Hello there, Paul. How you doing? Yeah, the amount of artillery is pretty brutal. We'll have to fall back quite far here with the air power. Try to have it concentrated as we can. Okay, we'll have these troops sent to this area. Okay. We do have Jaegers over here. They're going to be very nice. Now, these divisions, they do have... well, the morale's not awful. 48 morale. How is that compared to the other unit? Okay, so it's about average then. Some units obviously do have higher morale, but it's about average. Which, yeah, that's not bad. I can make use of that. Which would be your hometown. Right. I do have some extra cores over here, so I'm going to use them. Ideally, that should make it easier in terms of command points. The issue is the lack of support, however. We will assign the heavy support, well, just the support over here in general. Ah, Posen. Indeed. Hopefully Posen will actually last through this onslaught. As we'll have you assigned to, let's see. What armies do we have in the area? Okay. 88mm tank guns, very nice. 62nd Fortress Machine Battalion. Or Machine Gun Battalion. Not too bad, comes with some other pieces of equipment. Not a huge amount, but still not too bad. Okay, let's change the colour of Army Group Vistula. Let's see. I'm going to go a random colour here. No idea what it's going to look like. Hopefully it looks pretty decent. Well, it's not great. It's really not great, but that'll do for now. We do have Army Group Center. Army Group Center can handle a few more troops. Of course, Army Group Vistula can handle plenty more. There's a lot of command points to obviously have you dismissed. What we'll do then is we'll have you assigned to Army Group Vistula. But then again, we could do with an army. Let's see. You're directly under the command of Army Group Vistula. I do need another army headquartered. Knife Army. Okay. This isn't going to be the best move, but we'll have them assigned to Knife Army. Actually didn't mean to move you via rail. Right, we'll have you move just out of Posen. Have you assigned to Knife Army? You as well if we can. Yes, Knife Army. Too bad. Okay. Have you assigned to this corps? Or whichever one works out just to be the best, that's fine by me. We'll fall back to the forested area here. Yeah, this is not great. Definitely. Okay, you're unready, might as well take you to the second line. Which you're frankly not going to be able to do a goddamn thing. The The Volkskamjägers are going to be the best thing that we have here. Use that shore of that defense. This isn't great. Our defensive positions over here towards the center aren't exactly great. Well, towards the north, there's not much for us to hold on to here. We have sent new divisions, so at least that is something extra. I mean, night farming's definitely grown in size. I'd imagine they're going to be suffering quite partially. At minus 48, that's not too bad. We can manage that. They have increased their numbers to about 387,000. So quite, well, it's not bad really, is it? Just shy of 400,000 men. It's significantly better than what we'd normally be dealing with. Okay, then that's cool here. We do have the option of sending armor here to the center, which I'd very much consider. I think as far as it goes here, we'll pull back, reduce the combat width as much as possible. I think that's the only thing that we can do here. We do have a first Hungarian Panzer Division. They are equipped with 292 Panzers, which is actually a fairly decent number, I've got to say. Okay. That's not bad. Take your position here. One of them's ready, one of them's set to refit, but otherwise you would be unready. Have you moved towards the rear? Take that division, have it move there. At least you do have some actual entrenchment. Right, now begin to fall back. We have so many forces over here. To make things easier, we are going to disband the fortified zones. There's only around about, what, 600 to just over 1,000 men. They don't really contribute anything meaningful. Their job really is just to dig prepared positions, that's about it. Right, seems to actually cost me administration points to do that, that's a shame. We can fall back with our headquarter unit. We'll fall back to these positions over here in the north, at least we have some entrenchment. A lot of bloody headquarters in this area. Now, thankfully, the muddy weather will hold over here in the north, which is, again, it may be clear here as well. Oh dear. We'll have to hope for the best. Yeah, 2 more headquarters on the front line. Taking up way too much room. We'll fall back to these positions here. These ones are dug in. We don't have any dug in defenses here in the center. But at least over here in the north we have a good anchor. Here, not so much, but it's definitely better to reduce the combat width. Okay. We do have the benefit of panzers in this area as well, which is quite nice. 206 armored fighting vehicles here, at least that's something of use. Have you taken up that position? I think as far as it goes now, it's definitely damage control, more than anything. I will keep the panzers on reserve. Something stronger here would be ideal, but we don't have that luxury. Okay, we do have a 19th Panzer Division. It is fairly weakened. Yes, very, very much so. Considering when you have 51 medium tanks out of the, well, supposedly 160. Only 6 tank destroyers left, not many. Okay. Move you over here then. Going on reserve, at least then you may be able to help somewhat. Add in somewhat more rigidity to our line. the war needs. Okay, reserve forces, but of course they're unready. Move them to the rear. Now, do we have the advantage of the... Right, I can't use the rails here. I'll have them move. Can I move them out? I can move them out. What we're going to do then is move them from the actual front line here. I'm doing this just to take them away here so we can actually have the space. Wow, yeah, indeed. Well, this is it, isn't it? It really would. End of the day, I suppose it's better to have some actual units. Indeed, we're not far from the end of the war here. Okay, I'd like to try and use the panzer group in the center area. Try and have their forces somewhat close to each other. Act as an actual unit. The morale is actually not too bad now. 61 morale is actually pretty good overall. We do have reserves. Not great deals of them, but we have them. Right, move you over here. Right, the 463rd. Have you taken this position? Okay. I'm half considering having the rescue divisions from Kurland actually deployed on this line here. At least then they could actually hold position, start to dig in. Not a bad idea, really. Okay. Move you back over here to Danzig. Yeah, there's too many core headquarters here. We'll just move them out of the way so we can actually deploy our troops as we need to, and then we'll move the headquarters back then afterwards. You do not have sharp teeth capable of biting. Dig, dig. I love it. God, I love awesome powers. Right, these forces will fall back. I apologise about getting a little bit tongue-tied as well. Always happens when it's the first stream of the day. Okay. Right, so you need to be deployed down here to south then. That's understandable. We do have the 2nd Hungarian Panzer Grenadier Division. Only 11 vehicles, that's not a great deal. The artillery will come in handy. Only 37 pieces though. They're actually planning a 4th movie, Jesus. I know they'd always considered it. Well, considered it. It was always like sort in the proposed works. Movie, baby. Okay, have the 2nd Hungarian Panzer Grenadier Division form the 2nd line. Well, form part of this 2nd line. Well, what was the 2nd? Now the front line. Okay. I can't leave this position, I suppose, otherwise we'll be completely destroyed. As far as I can say, these forces will be forced back anyway. So what we'll do then is we'll have the 24th Panzer Division, which used to be very strong actually. We'll have you placed in reserve here. The divisions here can be moved. Right. These forces aren't ready. But they will be pressed into the frontline service. They will be made ready. Was a wide unit in the hex with the dark blue mechanized, it seems. Yes, I don't have the actual command points to assign them to a command properly. We do have a bunch of units here still. It's a little bit harder to see due to all the actual headquarters, as well as these actual fortress, well, fortified units. But we'll be able to disband them in following turns. At least I'll free up some manpower. Yeah, they've taken a hell of a beating. Yeah, that's nothing great. I do have the 18th Panzer Grenadier Division. We will move them up. I'm doing this on the flank here. At the end of the day, I can't afford to lose this position. If this falls, it is going to be very easy to bypass my forces here. There's going to be a great deal of pain. Great deal. At least I do have some extra divisions here. Okay, we need you down here in the south. We do have a 4th Panzer Division over there, thankfully. Okay, that makes these units much happier. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to deploy my new divisions here on this front line. The reason for this is so at least we have something to fall back to. Second Army's here, but we'll have Second Army moved just outside of Bromberg. I have a lot of aerial support here, but I'm going to move that back just to make things a little bit easier to see. Also, it's probably not a bad idea considering that they may be wiped out if they're called. And that would be very bad news. Okay. Reinforce this area. I do have the 27th SS Grenadier Division here. They're pretty potent forces. Right. I do anticipate quite a lot of pain in this area, so I'll have them move down to that area. Okay. Fourth Army can also... Actually, Fourth Army can remain outside of Danzig. Right, it's not the best here. But frankly, it's a little bit more ordered than what we had before. Do I have any reinforcements I can move up pretty quickly? I know I said I'd probably move these forces here, but frankly I don't have that luxury. We'll take the 33rd. Right, we don't have that luxury either. We'll begin to move them. Move them to Berlin. Actually. There we go. Have you set to refit. Now, in actual city centres, they should receive more replacements. So ideally that should work out in our favour. Okay, we need to fall back in this area. I do have a decent amount of force here. We do have plenty of armour. in this general area, which is very, very good. At least it gives us something that we can actually really hold on with. Yes, move the Brandenburg Panzergrenadier Division. At least having the river line be of some use would be very nice. Okay. $235 armored fighting vehicles is actually pretty decent. They may be unready, but they will be pushed into frontline service if we have nothing else. Okay. Move to the rear. Interdicted. They do lose 4 bombers, thankfully. We'll lose no further AFVs, which is very nice. Right. Deutschland Panzergrenadier Division. Extremely powerful. The RAL is still pretty high. Additional panzers here. But at least we do have a decent amount of armor in this area. I think we'll probably be better off applying armor behind the lines over here too. There we go, reserve. I'll have these Panzergrenadier divisions sent to the north. Not hugely powerful, but it's something. And that does mean a lot, even if it's just the morale that's high. Right. 10th Panzer Grenadier Division. Granted, far away from your headquarters, but still fine. The artillery will have obviously moved to the rear line. So in effect, we are given a lot of ground here. But this may be the best case that we actually have. The best chance that we actually have to hold on. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm honestly going to expect the worst. But if anything, the Reds aren't going to be able to attack as they would hope. They're going to have to move forward. Which means they'll only be able to use so many troops to actually attack at once. At least that's something that is going to work in our favour. Over here, not so much. They'll be able to move through us. It's going to be dangerous. I do have this force, which I'm going to move here. Move these men down here. We do have the 11th SS Panzergrenadier Division, which is actually very formidable. Actually quite formidable. Right. Hello there, Van Vischer. Good to see you, my friend. Right. We'll keep you around about here by Bromberg. Are there any forces that we can rescue from Kurland? Because this is a situation that is beyond bad. I don't know if they can hold. I doubt they'll be able to hold another turn. So, we'll rescue what we can now. Everything else is pretty much infinite. But at least we do have something to bring home. Move these panzers down here. Yeah, depleted. The men will fight even harder due to the fact that this is pretty much it. There's nothing else after this. I think I've got all the armor out of here. Yeah, that looks like all the armor. So yeah, this is pretty much it. I know it's not great to do that, but I'm going to move these troops over here. At least they're moving to a more fortified zone. Do you think you'll be able to keep the same amount of ground in a play by email? Or do you find that the AI, even at this level, is easier than a human opponent? The AI is in some ways more difficult due to the fact that obviously it has the benefits of an AI, obviously the bonuses. Against a human opponent, it would be far, 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 far more challenging. And that is certainly no underestimation. That is, I mean, that's not an overestimation, I should say, sorry. That would be the truth there. A human opponent would be incredibly dangerous to play against, and I don't think I'd have anywhere near this amount of ground. It would be a pretty tough and hard-fought battle. So, I think we're about ready to go here. I'm not confident in our chances, and I'm pretty nervous. But I think we have the best preparations that we could do here. Well, we've made the best that we can do here. There's not a whole lot else I could do. I think at least we've fallen behind rivers as much as we can do. We've taken up somewhat more stable defensive positions. No, I'm going to be doing more play-by-email games in the future. Right. It seems we do still have the benefit of the mud here for another turn, which is really, really quite nice. Yeah, 14th Panzer is forced out there. 29 armored fighter vehicles lost a further 17 damage. Right, thankfully this mud is going to help us out significantly. At least we might be able to make more use of these positions. Not such as that one. That one's a shame. I was actually hoping that would hold. Right. If we can reassert ourselves in that position, then I'll put armoured forces on that spot. We need to hold the river lines. We need to hold the river banks. If we can hold them, they're going to be significantly harder for the Soviets to get across. But they took a lot of losses there. That's quite good for the AFE losses. Again, quite good for AFE losses. We are losing some ourselves, but then again, look at that. 27 lost. That is a lot of men there. That's really not good. Okay, this may be where we need to concentrate armored forces. Yes, and it looks as though they're across the river. Okay, thankfully we are holding for the most part. Yeah, they surrendered. There's just simply nowhere for them to go. Army Group Kurland is pretty much going to be extinct at this point. Once the weather changes, they'll have absolutely no chance. And I feel directly responsible, because it is my fault that Army Group Kurland is going to fall. Well, Army Group North, I should say. I admit, trying to counterattack was probably a little bit too much. Alas. Oh. Right, thankfully they're holding. They really have no choice. You would not want to be taken captive at this point. Not that you would have been wanting to take, or be taken captive at any point, but yeah, you definitely didn't want to be taken captive at this point. Yes, I'm glad that we moved the men back. And, yes, I was not kidding when I said nearly, well, round about 200,000 men. Just look at the sheer amount of men they're holding up there. Those are so many Red Army assets that could be turned against us. Those are high losses. Very high losses. It looks as though we are going to be falling back to the Vistula here pretty damn quickly. We are holding for the most part. Seems the 19th Panzer Division actually reinforced the battle there. Those 223 armoured fighting vehicles are actually very welcome. Good, we hold. Quite a small battle there. Right now, that's quite critical. Just towards the centre here, well, towards Blomberg, is where the line is pretty weak. I do need to hold it then, ideally. Okay, that was pretty good. At least we may have the clear weather to work in our favour. We might be able to actually pull off some potential counterattacks to a very local degree. Such as maybe pushing the Soviet forces back across the river, which would actually be very nice. I do fear for the south. I do fear that we are going to be cut off from the south for the most part. The fact that we won't have a line that links up. But the mountains should be extremely deadly for these Soviet forces. I'm not happy about the men that have been forced to surrender in Army Group Kirtland. Okay. So we do lose quite a bit there. Not a huge deal. But the Red Army is definitely advancing. And we should see the weather change here, and that is going to be extremely dangerous. We're going to see a lot of losses. We're going to see a lot of pain here. The issue has been, for the last few turns, the problem of our division's routing. Yeah, so the losses are a little bit higher than usual. Not quite as high as they were during the winter and the blizzards, but still quite high. We do tend to lose about 20-odd thousand men. The Red Army has lost only 27,000 this turn. They have lost an additional 365 armored fighting vehicles, but it's not enough to really matter too much. Yes, 1,908 men captured, so not a great amount. Still nothing great. Yeah, no counterattacks, dig. Okay, so the weather hasn't turned as of yet. That's great. It is forecasting clear weather, so it does have a good chance to change rather soon. But this is actually going to buy vital time here. Now the Red Army has obviously moved up their positions. Now the issue is I wish I could push them back here. Their beachhead is going to be extremely problematic. Now thankfully I do have armoured forces very close by. And a significant amount of armour, probably the most amount of armour that I have really anywhere. And we also do have some of the best units, such as the Brandenburg Panzergrenadiers, such as the Großdeutschland Panzergrenadier Division. So at least we have a good solid chance of holding the Red Army back here. Okay. It looks as though they're definitely massing their forces for a assault on the line here. They're definitely pushing towards Breslau. From what we can see here, they do have a great deal of force in this area. Plenty of armoured forces. Seems as though they're going to try to either bypass Breslau, or indeed dissect the line between Posen and Breslau. which would be a very, very bad situation. The thing is, I don't have any troops here. And if they move fast enough, they could actually seize the initiative here. I think what we may do is actually take this division, split it up just to try and garrison some of these positions here. Just to make sure that they just don't immediately fall. This isn't great. We are definitely going to be trying to beat the line back here. Thankfully, we do have a great amount of armored forces in the area, which is going to be the saviour. Not to mention, we do have the SS Panzer Division over here, the 10th SS Panzer Division. So at least the morale is quite high, which is going to matter a great deal. Their strength is pretty good as well, probably one of the strongest Panzer Divisions that we actually have. If we take a look at our units then, let's see here then. So, look at the units. Look at armor. Yep, so the 10th SS Panzer Division is the strongest Panzer Division that we have. Not only in terms of AFVs, but as well as men, and it seems guns as well. But by far the strongest Panzer Division that we actually have. Then it goes the 20th, the 1st Hammergarden Panzer Division. So this is the best that we have, which is very nice. I'm glad that it's here in this location then. We also do have, yeah, so we have the strongest Panzer Divisions here. We have the 10th and the 20th Panzer Division. Superb. That's going to matter a great deal. Of course, there's the Panzer Grenadiers then. Okay, we'll have them take up the second line. I want the infantry to soak up the most part of the assault. Okay, have the 58th moved here. Have the 20th moved up to this position. I do have the 20th Panzer Grenadiers, which I'm going to move over here as well. I do have an additional 16 administration points, which is quite nice. Okay, move you up somewhat. Right. Move you to this position. We'll have the headquarters fall back. Now, it doesn't look too dangerous over here, so at least what I can do is probably take forces into this area. That's not bad. Yeah, have them reinforce this area of the line. As far as it goes, it's not too terrible. We have managed to move armoured forces into this area, so they will have a great chance of holding on. You're needed over here. Deutschland. Right, I'm going to move the artillery up as well. Okay. Right. Have you hold this position. You can also try to start digging it in as well. Start to fortify it to some degree. Okay. Yeah, those forces are being reformed over there. That's nice to see. Okay, we can see that you did receive a decent amount of extra men. That's good. You have additional cores here, that's very nice. The 33rd is going to do a good job. Yes, fantastic. Okay, so there's obviously still a very real danger that the Red Army breaks through here. But at the very least, we do have forces on the line here. They won't just immediately surrender. They'll fall pretty quickly. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have something to hold the line than nothing at all. We'll have them assigned to this core. Give them some command, basically. Yeah, I mean, a human opponent would definitely concentrate his armor, and he has more than enough armor to drive a absolute nightmare through the German front lines. Absolutely. Have you assigned to that command? It's not good to have artillery on the front line, so we'll have you pull back. I will have the Panzer Grenadiers move up here as well. Considering the fact that we are facing armor opposite us, that's not a bad idea. Okay. Act as a reserve. At least some of these forces are now somewhat capable. But no good, don't get me wrong, but it's something, at the very least. I don't have enough command points to assign you. That's fine. Okay, this is just such a terrible situation. So bad. Relocate unit. Well, at least I'll get you out. At the end of the day, I suppose I need to save them. What does this cost us? I imagine it's got to be some cost to it. At the end of the day, if we can get all these forces out, then at least that's saving vital support. It does mean that we have more room to fall back to now. Which I can be happy with that. Right, we need to fall back. These men are not going to fall. Sorry, they're not going to stand. Okay, move 16th Army out of here. That's honestly the best we'll get. There's not many men remaining here now. They are, by and large, doomed. We are able to save some of our forces, though. Not a great deal of them. But I'd much, much rather have something than nothing. Indeed. Right. As far as it goes over here, it's a dire situation. We do have multiple Panzer divisions, but at least that is something. We do have a decent number of men here. It's certainly better than nothing. That certainly isn't going to hold any length of time, is it? Right, move you back over here. That sounds very interesting. Yeah, these forces obviously need to be made ready. Secure divisions basically, well, regiments, only 680 men. Pointless. These divisions aren't too bad at all, actually. Okay. Now, I very much doubt that the Red Army has left so much ground exposed, but we'll take a look at that. Seemingly so. Not very particularly benefits us. How are the German reserve pools looking this time? We can take a quick look. Let's see. Ba-ba-bum. So that's what we've recruited here. Yeah, so here we go. We are using a lot of manpower here. Considering that we use nearly 10,000 manpower, and our pool is... it's not infinite. We'll have manpower to last here, but not a great deal. Yeah, okay. So we definitely do not seem to be capable of getting back to about 10,000 plus supplies arriving at the front line. But I can handle that. We can manage. Now, do I advance over here? I think we will just put some pressure upon the Red Army. Well, I knew it was too good to be true. I knew it was too good to be true. Right. Yeah, we have 37,000 vehicles, which we need 67,000, but it's not too bad. Okay, let's see. What are our defensive positions looking like? Okay, this is the strongest. We should hold here for the most part. Okay, I'm going to take you. Have you reinforced that position here? It's not perfect and probably will fall. Or at least we have an element of the River Vistula here to fall back to. At the end of the day, we'll just fall into the Carpathian Mountains and to the Sudetenland Mountains. Well, Sudeten Mountain. There's really... that's all we really have for it. This is not too much to be done. They will be on the chopping block. They most certainly will be. The sheer amount of men attacking Königsberg has been insane. You look at that, just shy of 200,000 men. There's not a huge amount of men remaining here in Königsberg. There really is not. But just look at all the firepower they're soaking up. It's insane. It will eventually fall. But for the fact of 188,000, almost 189,000 men, over 4,000 pieces of artillery, almost 2,000 armoured fighting vehicles to be tied up here is very good. They did damage 74 armoured fighting vehicles and they did destroy another 28. They're actually doing pretty good work. The issue is they only have 145 vehicles. Of course they've lost more now. The numbers aren't against them, but they are putting up a hell of a fight. Yeah. The amount of fortification has fallen significantly as well. From the level 4 fortress that we had, it's definitely been reduced quite a lot. It has cost the Soviets thousands of lives, and I'd imagine hundreds of vehicles at this point, but it will be worth it for them, as it is a actual victory point. Now, of course, we still hold on to the vast majority of victory points, which is very good. Okay. Have these men set to reserve. Grenadiers are unready. That's fine. Ideally, things will work out when we actually have the time to make them ready for battle. We do have opportunities to potentially counterattack in some places, but that would only be to try and just take some of the pressure off of a point elsewhere along the line. So we are preparing for what may be the most devastating turn. It very much depends on whether the weather is going to change. It really does. We're going to go through another turn boldly here. I wish we had nukes. Now they would make a major difference. I doubt the Germans would have the means to actually transport a weapon of that nature to Moscow, for example. And even then, you'd have to be extremely lucky. Not likely to do a great deal. Okay, so we still have the mud on our side here. That's going to be essential. Right, we are inflicting some good casualties here. The 24th Panzer Division does aid the battle there. Not a huge amount of armor, but at least it is something. Good, we do hold. The losses have been high. Yep, that position folds. Unsurprisingly. These men are desperately holding on now. They know if they surrender, it's all over for them. Goodbye to the 19th. They fought a tenacious battle. Goodbye. They have no chance to hold on now. The 11th is gone. Just a matter of time. Yes, indeed. Press F for respects. I do hope you guys are having a great Halloween, by the way. Right, I didn't expect them to put the pressure there. Right, they're definitely shifting tactics here. I'm glad that we have the Jaegers there to the north. They're in a decent position in the woods. Okay, for the most part, we've actually managed to hold quite well here. May 1946, goddamn. Can you imagine the sheer amount of extra suffering? Right, the 16th does join the battle. They do manage to save day, I'd imagine. Considering that's an attack of 129,000 men, that's a considerable attack. I don't know if they could hold a second time should they choose to attack there. Good. The addition of the extra men there does make the difference. Mighty 606. That sounds very interesting. If somebody could actually clear that up, that'd be very interesting to learn about. Good idea, though. I'd imagine the Red Army's logistics are, by and large, fairly good at this point. They've had ample time to move up their railheads. Right, so that was actually a remarkably good turn. I know I keep saying about this weather, but it is going to change at some point, and when it does, we'll definitely know about it. But these extra turns of the mud has been really critical. Let's see, what does the next turn present to us? Okay, losses as per usual. Minus 134? Right. An awful number of men have been captured and killed in that last turn. Yeah, here we go, the weather has turned. Now, just look at this actual potential just suddenly skyrocket. The thing is, so has ours. Which is very interesting. We're gonna have a hell of a time holding this. This is what I've been fearing all this time, is the weather changing. It does make our logistical situation quite a lot easier. That's very bold of them to have their rail units on the front lines. I think that is a good opportunity to actually punish them for that. Then again, it's going to do nothing and it'll just make our forces weaker. So not a good idea. Right, I could do a reinforcing this position here. This is looking pretty strained. Thankfully, we can move our units significantly easier now. Let's see. I'll take the 269th Division. Have them moved up to this position here. We'll have them obviously change command. Lovely. I don't know, guys, what do you reckon? How long do you think we'll be able to hold for this? We have 2 turns to go until we have actually finished the scenario. Things are looking pretty fierce. Königsberg. Interesting. Okay, the Red Army's actually shifting a lot of their forces here now. They are definitely gearing up for a big push. I do think that we should get rid of these fortified zones so I can actually have ease of movement. That's going to be essential. I'll be able to have my units better coordinated with the headquarters closer to the front line. Have we managed to dig in? We have managed to dig into somewhat a degree. Not a huge amount, but it is going to make a difference. It really will do. I'm actually really overly happy about that. At least the vast majority of our forces now do have a lot more of a bite to them. But yeah, this is going to be the final showdown. We've managed to hold the Red Army back for so long now. Indeed. That's really nice of you to say, my friend. It's worked out really well, to be honest. I was very scared when I first, well, when we first talked about actually setting this series of streams up. Would it last long enough? Would it not last long enough? But this has just worked out perfectly. So I really like that. Indeed, May 11th. Very interesting day. I do have plenty of armor, thankfully. Our forces are in a position along the river. So I think what we'll do here then is hold this position here. We may have this armor sent down to this area. considering the extra threat that we just faced here, we can understand that this is a pivotal zone. Well, actual pivotal zone. So we'll take the... Indeed, yes. We'll take the 11th SS Panzergrenadier Division, the survivors of the North. Their morale is pretty decent. We'll have them sent to this area. They must hold here. They must. If they fall back, if they are forced back, the results here may be catastrophic. They will be assigned to this area. Fuel is absolutely fine. There's no issue regarding fuel, really. The reason for that is we're not going very far. And they do spend a lot of time sitting in the same place. Right, I'm going to take this armor. It must be used. The 12th Division. I can't force them back across the river here. I can't. I wish I could. It would have been very nice, but I simply can't. This position here is dangerous, considering that we have no dug-in defenses. We have some armor, but not a huge deal. So what we will do is we will continue to send them extra armor that way. This position... it'll hold. Barely, but it'll hold. And that's all I need right now. I need them to grit their teeth, to hold on for the Reich. Yeah, multiple divisions being reformed here. Right, we must have you head to the front line. You're not in great strength. Most certainly not. But you will be needed to help just hold this. Just in the event of a Soviet breakthrough, it would be better to have something. At least just something in those trenches. How confident is everybody? That's a good joke. I'm really worried. I really am worried here. They have to hold. They have no other choice. At least we do have extra armor here. But you know what, I think we have to take them down here. I think the need is great for armor in this area. I really do believe that. This is where the end will come, if it comes. Indeed, time to take the Luger out. The 14th Division will be moved to this area. The vast majority of the panzers left in the east are deployed in this area. The vast majority. Now, if we take a look actually at our numbers, we do have 6,338 armoured fighter vehicles left. Well, these are the ones that are ready. 6,628 in total. We do have a okay amount of artillery. It's not as bad as it once was. It's nowhere near as good as the Soviet amount of artillery. But it's fairly useful. The amount of men is pretty okay. The Soviets are almost down to 4 million men. I'm sure they're feeling the pain. But they definitely are feeling this pain. Just as I am. Only 2 turns left. Berlin is safe even if you pull everything back to the Oder. Well, let's hope that we're not pushed back to the Oder River. I would like to hold on to as much of the ground as we can. Just for bragging rights. But yeah, there's a lot of pain to come here. Frankly, there's not a huge amount I can do. We just simply have to bear what is to come. Okay, we do have some okay numbers of aircraft, so let's actually get them into here. In fairness, I should just have them all assigned. Whatever can be used must be used. Frankly, it's not going to do as much good if it's sitting in a hangar, and then it's just taken by the Red Army. So at least some additional planes will be quite nice. Take a look. Run reconnaissance. Yeah, they're definitely building here in the center. This is going to be it. This is where the Red Army is more than likely, more than likely going to drive us back. I can feel that. We've made the best preparations that we can. And even that is nowhere near what it should be. If there's any support available, just have it assigned. We did manage to assign here some heavy Panzerjägers. They're going to be very nice. So, additional 88mm guns. Only 5, but that's still something. If the Panzers are set to reserve, that may give us some extra oomph. Again, not a great deal here, but this is the best that we can do. Have these men put to the front line to help dig in. Can we save any more men from here? I think if we have the opportunity, we should do so. We can save more men. Can we? Let's see. Move the airfields over here. We may be able to save some extra divisions, which frankly is going to make a massive difference, considering it's better than seeing them just destroyed here. Yes, that's an additional 2 divisions saved. 3 divisions saved. Can we save any more men? Please say that we can. We can save more men. Oh, thank you. Okay. We might be able to save something like a core equivalent, which is a major deal here. These men are going to be extremely useful on the front line. This is so much better. I mean, that's an additional, what, maybe close to 20,000 troops, maybe just over. But that's a big deal. Just save whatever we can here. If it can get out, it gets out. If it can't, it's going to die. Right, interdictions here. Thankfully, no losses. Obviously, in real life, that would have been a very, very eventful trip. Not one you would have been like to make it back from. Okay. We do have a good number of men that have just made it out of Courland. It does mean that these men are absolutely buggered now, as there's simply nothing left to hold. Who knows, there may be a chance. Get the Luftwaffe out. At least the Red Army can only attack with so many units. In fairness, I need to get these divisions, these actual core headquarters out. There's nothing else I can do with them here. They're just simply taking up room. So we are going to fall back to the just meager area of the port. This is all that is left of Army Group North, obviously, in this area. The port may have a chance of holding, but the fact of these men making over here is actually quite considerable. The 18th still has some strength. Not a great deal, not a great deal, but it has some. Now if we take a look over here. Armies. 18th, 128,000 men. 128,000. At least we have managed to get them over here, the vast majority back to Germany. So long, Wehrmacht. I like it. The pain is going to be excruciating, but we have no other choice. We have the vast majority of our armor deployed to this sector. And just look at these numbers here. These numbers are insane. It is going to be a most brutal battle. And there's nothing much we can do for them. Good luck to these men. Good luck to them. And we go forward into what is going to be the most painful turn I can imagine. Expect huge losses here. I don't know how this is going to go. The Red Army is obviously much more vigorous now. They have a lot more potential for the advance. But then again, at least we have some fight back remaining to us. Not a huge deal, but some. Here we go. I want bets here. What do you think is going to fall first? Could it be Königsberg? It is Königsberg. Wow. Okay. Ha. Yeah. Now begins the fall. This is going to be bloody. This is where we see the army groups split. Okay, at least we'll have the river fistula to fight from behind. That gives us something to hold on to. Yeah, they did hold for a long time. Oh, we did hold there. Barely, but we did hold. 776 armored fighter vehicles. Probably the greatest concentration of Axis armor for a long time. We are forced back there. The 16th is repulsed. They are taking heavy losses. We are taking heavy losses as well. We barely hold there. 560 armored fighter vehicles. These are the greatest tank battles the Red Army has seen for a long time. They break through, even with the 12th aid in them. Even the Hermann Goering Panzer-Grenadier Division is routed. Well, retreats. Routed. The Vistula is the only defense that we have here. The losses are significantly higher. This is going to be a very bloody turn. Very. We barely hold here. The loss is actually pretty substantial for the Red Army. Oh, we've not seen this many men rout for a long time. You should replay as the Russians. I think we'd be done pretty quickly. But I could do that. I'd do that on my own channel, actually. Right, and there goes another city. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a larger figure than we're used to here. Ooh, we do hold. They are attacking everywhere. But just think how bad things could have been had the weather changed turns ago. Things would have been very, very much different. I think we would very much be in the Carpathian Mountains by now. The mountains are going to be the greatest defense that we have. Yes, look at those losses inflicted. Goodbye, man. Goodbye. There's no way they can survive. You know what scares me is that they're already at the Vistula. Oh boy, they are already at the Vistula. Yeah, the Jedi are feeling this one. We need to hold them at the Vistula. Right, so far, it looks bad. And it is bad, but it's not that bad yet. Nothing too major has been lost. It's a shame about Königsberg. It's a shame about the 2 cities to the south. But it's not all bad. This is where I fear. Good, they retreat. They actually don't rout. That's a very important thing here. 1 division rounds. You retreat. We hold the line. Destroying a lot of armored fighting vehicles in the process. See, we do have significant amount of, well, a significant amount of armored vehicles in this area. So that is really holding them from pushing deeper. They do have holes in our line. Yeah, those men are gone now. Just the portman is left. If they hold on another turn, they may be saved. No. There's no saving them. They are gone. Goodbye to Armored Group Karland. You now join the rest of the men in Germany. There's a lot of infantry there. That's a lot of armored fighting vehicles as well. The issue is, even with these defensive lines that we established behind the Vistula, they've not dug in too well. Yeah, definitely cuts deep. That is a pretty substantial breakthrough there. Now, thankfully, those men do only retreat and they don't rout. So it's not as bad as it could have been. Yeah, this is where I feared a breakthrough. At least we only have 1 more turn to hold on. Yeah. Now this is where Bromberg is on the front line. Bromberg is the front line. I do dearly hope Bromberg does not fall. I do not have much of a garrison there. Okay, that's dangerous. That is very, very dangerous. There's a lot of men that may be potentially cut off there. Oh dear. Oh dear. That's a lot of men. That's a whole lot of damage. Ha ha! Ha 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 ha! Oh dear. Indeed. Right, we haven't got in Panzer Division as forced retreat as well. They do retreat and not rout. So many router divisions. So many. Ah, ladies and gentlemen. So many router divisions. So many. We have to hold the Vistula. The south isn't faring too badly. Yes, in the mountains we do have a good chance. Good, not perfect. But a better one than you can expect. Especially from areas such as the Polish plains. Yeah, this has been a exceedingly brutal turn. But thankfully it's over. It's a shame about the loss of Königsberg, or should I say Kaliningrad. Indeed. Right, so we are just in Germany now. We have to hold the front line. We do have the forces. Now, the ones that have been routed. Oh my god! Oh my god. Look at those losses. Look at them. Those are catastrophic losses. Those are the losses I feared. That's 112,000. That's a lot of men. And indeed, happy Halloween. This is actually very scary. And the AI threw everything and the kitchen sink this time round. They have lost a lot of men as well, but yeah, it's just a normal day for them. They haven't lost that many. Right, the mud has returned. Oh, God. Oh, thank God, Lady Weather has saved us. General Mud has saved the day. Thank God for that, because otherwise we would have been in a... I mean, we're still in a bad situation. It's still bad, but the mud has saved us. Thank God. And thankfully the Soviets did not occupy this line here. But yeah, look at this. Blomberg was held by 1,000 men and some headquarters. Nothing, basically. We have been very, very lucky. Exceedingly lucky there. Our forces are battered beyond belief at this point. Yeah, and the weather change in there has saved the day. Absolutely saved the day. Without that weather change, things would have been significantly different. The issue is that we were rolled back very quickly, with high losses. Very high losses. I still have some armor to save the day. Not a huge amount, but some. The Vistula isn't exactly dug in, is it? That's all we've been able to achieve. Nowhere near enough. But with the change in the weather, it should be enough to hold the day. Right. We will win this due to victory points. We have managed to hold a long time. You can see here, Königsberg is worth 75 points per turn. That's a lot of points. It's the second most valuable city. And good. Yes, indeed. We were losing round about 1,000 men in each of these battles for the most part. And let's just see here how many battles we saw. So each one of these is a battle. That is a lot of them. We are playing random weather, I do believe. Let's see. Oh, no, no, no. Yes, we're playing random weather. Which would be interesting to compare to actual reality in the weather condition. But the fact is, we would have been pretty much over here by now. Right. Yeah, just look at all these units just reforming. Yeah, they're of no use. Absolutely no use. This situation's not great. We'll have to fall back. Granted, that means losing the city. But I can sustain that. I need to sustain. We don't have a huge amount of men here. We will fall back across the river. Good amount of panzers. There we go. There would be one turn left, I do believe. Right, fall back to this position here. We did manage to hold here quite well. I mean, these battles were actually very large. If we take a look over here then. So this is looking at the ground. So if we take a look at the most amount of armored fighter vehicles. So the attacker, Soviets, obviously this was Königsberg. So this was supposedly the largest battle with AFVs. I don't think this takes into consideration actual total numbers, because we've seen higher. We've definitely seen hundreds of vehicles, but I don't know if we've seen higher. Interesting. Let's see. So they did lose 79 armored fighting vehicles over here at Brieg. That's quite a lot of numbers. But if we take a look over here then, Königsberg. Interestingly, only shows up once. Plenty of battles at Krakow. Okay. Yeah, see, these losses aren't exactly great. These are losses that you see at the start of the war. It's like they're painful, but they're nowhere near the amount of losses that we need to inflict upon the enemy. If we take a look at our losses, obviously Königsberg stands out there at 38,000 men. A lot of men. It's a shame about the loss of guns as well. But other than that, 5,769. Just still a lot. Krakow. So many men lost. Yeah, defenders escaped. That's interesting. 15,000, 10,000, 4,000, 800, 2,600, 2,400, 2,200. Decent amount of guns survive as well. VR, let's see. The most they've lost is 25. 22 bombers. Meanwhile, I'm actually surprised that we didn't have more lost. Okay, so not too terrible. What are we looking at in terms of vehicle numbers then? I'm rather interested to see what we have in terms of like heavy tanks. Right, Tigers. About 180. Not terrible, is it? Yeah, a few of them serving over here. Right. This line must hold. And that is going to be significantly easier said than done. I'm going to have to just move my forces from the front line here. There's way too many. Interdicted. Large numbers as well. We'll hold that town for the time being. We do have forces here. I could do with pulling back the Panzer Grenadiers. Yeah, those forces aren't going to do us any good. There's a lot of men that are basically unready. We'll move them from the front, free up some space. Overall, our strength has been vastly diminished. What is on the front line basically stays for the most part. The reason for that is, frankly, to buy time. These men will fall back. Move the artillery. Move one of our divisions over here. It's incredible, really. It looked like we had our defenses more or less sorted there. They were looking good. In reality, they're pathetic. These men need to be put here. I don't have enough men here. I really don't. These are tiny, tiny numbers. Right, get rid of the fortified zone. If we can, we'll move the Volkskamjägers. They must hold on to Bromberg. Right, the armor will be moved to this area. Yeah, there's not much that can be done. At least we do have men here to start digging in. Thankfully, there's only a single turn left to pain. That is our saving grace. And with that, there's not a huge amount I can do here. We've fallen back as much as we can over here, given that ground. It's funny to think that we held Lodz for a long time. This is where the front line used to be. It's funny even to think that this is where we started, roughly, at Warsaw. Warsaw? City at wall. So many men have been made unready, it's just incredible. So many are just not able to be used. We do have some divisions. Issue is there's just too many here on the front. What are our numbers looking like then? Just over 2 million men. Almost 2.2 million men. Fairly substantial numbers, I suppose, at this point. It's a shame, really, to think that over here. But at least these men probably will not be able to join the battle here. Patton just entered Berlin. Game over. Incredible, really. One last turn. We'll see how it goes, and we'll hope for the best. Hopefully we can retain as much as possible. And then after that, we'll take a look. We'll run through the actual scenario. I think we'll take a look at past saves and really just take a look at the actual worst of the worst. This has truly been a great series. I've really enjoyed this, and I'm really glad that you guys are continuing to follow this all the way through. It's been fantastic. Very happy that Matrix has allowed this as well. Matrix and Slytherin, I should say. And it's funny that it ends on Halloween. Great timing. Now the weather here has just changed in time. Do I prefer War in the East or War in the West? I love War in the West's logistics, but I love the scope and scale of the East. Now, of course, with War in the East too, we will see the combination. We'll see a War in the West style logistics system, as well as the air. And this is it, the air command and the air battles in War in the West is significantly more detailed. Definitely more complexity there. And it really gives you a much more... Well, you have a more direct control over your air forces, which is really quite fun. But very much looking forward to War in the East too, where we'll see a combination of games. Yeah, indeed, we did save Berlin for the Allied forces. That would be very interesting. Would be very interesting to see the alternate history that would come about from this sort of circumstance. But I doubt the Germans really had no chance to hold it here as long. Of course, we don't have to worry about the West. I do believe this is the very last turn. It's like the last episode of MASH. Yeah, had the weather remained clear, they would have butchered. Absolutely butchered their way across the Vistula, sorry. I don't think anything we would have laid in front of them would have been enough. I think they would have just completely swept it aside. I mean, we are holding for the most part here, but even then, it's barely. The numbers are just significantly high. Well, so very significantly high. It'll be interesting. It will be interesting. I think having to consider logistics will be very... It will make for a very intriguing game. Yeah. I really do not miss the blizzards though. The blizzards were really awful. They were bad days. The days where we'd lose 40,000 men to 50,000 men every single day. Just incredible losses. That was a good point. That's a very good point made there by Neuhauser. Yeah, look at that. Even with the mud, they're still routing these units. That very much signifies that had the weather remained clear, they would have absolutely rolled across the Breslau defense. Absolutely. There would have been no stopping that. None. We're very lucky the weather turned here. Yeah, 124,000 men. I'm still sad that Königsberg could not have held to the end. The one of the West air mechanics, they seem imposing, but they're not bad at all, really. Given a little bit of time to get used to them, they're actually very intuitive. Well done there, Magnum. Yeah, look at the build-up there of Soviet forces on the border. Are we at the end? Let us see. Still miss the Hungarian forces. They were nice to have while we had them. For that short period of time. Ooh, is there one more turn? I believe this would be the absolute last turn then. Ooh. Right then. One last swing of the dice. One last throw. We just have to hold the best that we can here. We will redeploy the 10th SS Panzer Division over here. Have them reassigned to a local command. The 10th should ideally be able to hold that area. As far as it goes here, there's not much I can really particularly do. I'm somewhat tempted to place the Panzers here, but I don't think that's a good idea. Just look at this, they've managed to push us all the way from here, and it came very, very suddenly. And it came with very large amounts of ferocity. There wasn't that much that we could have done to hold that back. It was a very much an unending tide of Soviet armor. And with that, we proceed to the last turn. This will be the last turn. Promise. This is going to be interesting. So the weather does hold. It does stay muddy. General Mud really has saved the day. Can you imagine had the mud never arrived? Well, let's say that the muddy season would have been significantly shorter had the weather not been so kind to us. Then yes, the Red Army would have very likely been at the Oder or across the Oder River by now. No matter what I did. They would have just had the strength to force me back. I'm still sad that we couldn't hold on to Warsaw. I very much wanted to hold on to Warsaw as long as possible. But it was stolen from us. Pretty quickly as well. Indeed, General Mud. And now, in our final hour. Or should I say, General Field Marshal Mud. Look at those losses there, 1,704 men. Those are some pretty significant losses. I mean, these divisions, they're just on their arse. Yeah, these lines continue to fall. I will be interested to see if the Vistula has any grip to it. Yes, routed. Oh boy. Look at those numbers. Now, we'll be actually interested to see if we see over 1,000 armored fighters. Wow! Okay, yep, there we go. There is the largest commitment of Soviet armor. That is certainly overkill. 1,200 plus armored fighting vehicles. Can you imagine the sheer number of armored fighting vehicles lumbering towards you? Can you imagine that? Just imagine how many tanks for each square mile that would actually mean. That's a lot of tanks. Has a lot of armor. Yes, even with the Mudware still being forced back in location. These men have just utterly had enough. There's very little else they could do. These divisions are on their backside. The amount of punishment they've taken has been ferocious. I mean, the Red Army has taken a lot of losses as well. It doesn't look like it, but they have taken significant losses. Both armies have bled to death. Again, we give up another city. It does make our line... well, you can see here they've actually managed to penetrate into places there. They've definitely concentrated their armor towards this center. That unit's most certainly routed the heck out of there. They're not coming back. I think it would have been a matter of time until the Red Army just completely overwhelmed us. There's only so much we can do to forestall them. The weather has certainly saved us. Had this been another 2 turns, just imagine if we'd seen an additional 4 to 5 turns of clear weather. We would have been swept back, and there would have been very little we could have done about it. Sure, we might have had some chance to potentially fight back, but yeah, we could not have held a position. Now, I can legitimately say I would definitely give Wander West, well, just give the Wander West mechanics a go. Even if you fail, what's the... There's nothing wrong there. Learning is failure, failure is learning. As long as you learn and you learn how to improve, then there's no issue. I think, yeah. Here we are. We did suffer some major losses in the openings. There were major breakthroughs that we did manage by the skin of our teeth to contain. Barely. The Red Army, had it been more concentrated, would have drove its way through. We were lucky in that aspect, that the armor didn't just force the lines apart. Okay, now I think what it does. I forget the scenario level. I'm sure we're at the end though. I'm pretty sure. I keep teasing it, don't I? I'm teasing because I've got the actual... I'm sure at the end now. I think this would be the final turn? I think? It was 20 turns. Oh gee, we get to see a awful turn of pain. I was hoping that we'd go out on a high note, but no, it seems like we are going to go out on a note of absolute pain. Absolute pain. I'm just teasing people now, aren't I? I'm so sorry, I'm not meaning to tease you guys. I generally thought this was the end of the scenario. Right, let's move the armor in here. That should ideally be enough. Right, we'll advance the turn. I think this is the end. I do believe this is the end. If it's not, I'm going to look rather silly, aren't I? Oh dear. So, at least we get to see how badly we fare in clear weather. And I can give you something of an insight. It's going to be really bad. Hello there, Sudden Gift. How are you doing? Oh. Oh boy. Look at those losses. Here we go. Yes, we are definitely going to see that. These men are not making it home. No, sir. Right. One routed, which was the infantry, but the actual panzer and panzer grenadiers do retreat in somewhat good order. Mm-hmm. 1,251 armored fighting vehicles. We do take out 15 of them, damage a further 34. But yes, that battle's not one that could be won. Routed. Routed and routed. The divisions cannot take this. They simply can't. Right. It looks as though the panzers do hold. Oh no, that's not the panzers, that's just south of the panzers. I feel like we're going to lose the Vishla. I feel like Bromberg may fall as well. Frankly, I have nothing in the cities beyond the front line. So if the front line does fall, then yeah, they're pretty much looking at an open season. I is superb, but they fell back in good order. But yeah, look at that. That is a whole punch through the center there. And there's nothing to stop that. Only those men. And look at that, they were pushed back by 4,000 men. Indeed. Yeah, this is, yeah, exactly, this is where the snowball would start to roll. This would be it, where we would have no defense, no chance to hold it back. Right, the 31st Vodkanadiya Division is routed. Will the Vistula hold? Yeah, exactly. Once they rout, they need time to rest. And if you're while pressing them back into service, they're going to fall. Bromberg is very, very worrying right now. And they force back 2 Panzer Divisions, the 12th and the 4th Panzer Division. Perhaps the strongest part of that line there. And they continue to do so. Yep, this is where they completely punch with the center, and I would have no way to stop that. I'd throw everything I had, but that would just mean I'd lose somewhere else. There wouldn't be much I could do to hold that. There we go, the 10th SS Panzer Division is holding the line in that area. Those are some large numbers. Yep, the 2 Panzer Grenadiers are forced back. Routed, retreat, and rout. (1,426 armored fighting vehicles. That is certainly the highest number we've yet seen here. That's a catastrophically large number. 2,100! Okay, that takes the cake. Over 2,000 armored fighting vehicles. Over 2,000. That's a third of the armored forces we have left in the entire Eastern Army. Look at these numbers. Yeah, these were numbers that were being held up by Königsberg. That center is just completely blown open. There's nothing that could stop that. We'd throw men there, but they would not stop that. And that is where I feared the breakthrough would come, in the center. I'm hoping this is a final turn so I don't look so silly. I know it's a roughly around about 20-odd scenario, turn scenario. But this is the final episode, so I'm hoping that we can see the end here. Yeah, completely blown open. I think it's too far gone to reform it. It would be interesting to see what sort of chance we could have, but yeah. I think it would be very small. Indeed, IS freeze. Oh boy. And the IS-2 is dangerous enough. So I can't believe that we've seen a battle with over 2,000 armored fighting vehicles. That is a huge number. There's just no hope for them. Just look at all the different locations that the Red Army has punched through here. I don't think the IS-3s actually saw combat, I'm not entirely sure. They may have been like a few, or I don't think any of them saw combat service, as far as I'm aware. But of course I'm no expert. At least against Germany. I don't know about Japan. The city falls. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that we would have been able to hold fairly well in the mountains, but the thing is, if they're being forced back in such disorder, there's not much chance for them to form something of a defense. Now, are they going to break across to the Vistula? Are they going to do it? They've expended so much power here. I'd imagine multiple forces would be cut off in the following turns. There'd be nothing to stop them from doing that. They'd have all the time in the world. The Red Army do lose quite a few men there. These Ski Jaeger forces are very effective, but they're just in too low numbers to really make massive differences. They're very elite, but again, low numbers. I do very much miss the Hungarian forces. I miss having Axis allied forces. There goes low V volume. Okay, hopefully I didn't deafen anybody there. And we achieve a major victory. Ah, oh, dear God. There's been so much pain. And you know what, I've loved every moment of that. I sincerely thank every one of you for watching this through all the way to the end. It has honestly been so exciting. I've loved being able to see so many new faces, and it's great to see you come back each week again and again. It would have been nice to have had a decisive victory, but I don't think that would have been possible. Let's take a look at the map, shall we? I do apologise if I deafened anybody there in the last turn. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. Right, so we actually get to see... do we get to see everything on the map here? Indeed we won. If you can call that a victory. I mean, this would have been it. Look at the losses here. Just look at what was left. They would have fell. They would have fallen. There was nothing here. I mean, all these units were just airfields. They would have been unable to hold this. We might have been able to use what forces we had on the front line here. But yeah, against the sheer number of Red Army units, I don't think that would have been enough. Yeah. We'll take a look at the final losses then, shall we? The final losses. 236,000. Sorry, no. 2,361,145 men lost. 20,779 guns. 3,919 armoured fighting vehicles. 737 what I assume to be self-propelled and armoured cars. Wow. 469,981 men killed. 109,985 men captured. 1,781,179 men disabled. The Soviet losses are much better. 3,300,000. Was that 3,355,691 men lost? 15,727 guns. 9,497 armored fighting vehicles. 365 self-propelled armored cars. 715,071 men killed. That's a huge number. That is a massive number. Yeah, I mean, this is it. I don't know what turns would have been different compared to like an actual normal campaign. But I imagine it would have been a hell of a lot of more pain there. Let's look at the number of men he had disabled. We did capture a few Soviets, so at least we got something. So if we take a look at the actual losses here, let's see. So 466 refugees were lost in total. We lost 40 tigers, 16 king tigers. Not a huge amount of king tigers, but again they didn't see too much service. We were using them from the actual core headquarters. Plenty of Stokes, plenty of Jagdpanzers, plenty of assault guns. This is pretty much what made up the vast majority of our forces towards the end here. Yeah, let's look at these numbers. How about the Red Army? 2,429 34s of the M1942 variant. 3,051 34/85s. Quite a few Shermans. They do lose 139 IS-2s, 1944 variants. One 1945 variant, and I imagine these are only just coming into service. 33 1943 variants. Look at these numbers are insane. Yeah, I would not like to be facing the ISU-152. That is a big gun. That is a very big gun. Or the SU-152 as well. Big guns. Very big guns. How about in the air? Total is 2,051 losses for the Axis. 4,128 losses for the Soviet forces here. Indeed, and one howitzer. A huge number of men. 6 million men. 36,000 guns. 13,000 armored fighting vehicles lost in this campaign. Huge numbers there. And IS-3 lost the Axis. Incredible there. Yes, the lone IS-3, that's a good point there, actually. I didn't actually notice that. I thought that was an IS-2. But no, that is actually an IS-3. Wow, we actually killed one of them. That's actually pretty fun. I'm quite happy about that. And it happened in this turn. That's pretty cool. So the IS-3 did actually see combat service here. One of them was lost. Interesting. I'd have loved to know where that IS-3 was. That's pretty cool. I didn't notice that. Thank you for pointing that out. I would have been really dismayed to have missed that. That's really cool. And let's take a look at some of these numbers. So yeah, next turn would have seen Mud and... oh, we're seeing these Soviets here. Interesting. Let's take a look at their numbers. These must be very interesting. Look at that, capturing Stokes. Like they know what to do with them. Yes, IS-3. So a few of them were ready. A few of them. Not many, but a few. Yeah, look at their logistics. 20,656 tons of supplies required by units for consumption, 20,599 tons of supplies consumed. They had pretty much perfect logistics. Not an issue there. And we see their production. You know. Take a look then. What did we capture to the end? Wow, these are not huge numbers. Then again, we didn't really capture much at all, did we? No grand encirclements. But 10 T-34, 1942, 18 T-34, 85s, which is not a bad number, I suppose. At least it's something. It seems that we don't actually... Well, no, we actually capture a few IS-2s. Nothing else as much as that. The rest seem to be just tank destroyers. Or at least the sod guns. But overall, not too bad. Not too bad. So, yes. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I do hope to see you again in the future. And who knows what the next project will be. If it is rumblings of a project, though even I do not know it as of this moment. Hopefully it be something that we can all enjoy. Until next time, thank you so much. I can't say that enough. And if you wish to find me again, find me here. Until next time, thank you and goodbye.